Hello friends, welcome to the Edupedia world. In this tutorial, we are going to continue with our loop statements. So far we have covered introduction to loops and for loop. So let's begin. While a statement continually executes a block of statement while a particular condition is true. Its syntax can be expressed as while, then we have expression that is a condition, and then we have statements. So we'll see in detail how it works. A while statement evaluates expression which must return a Boolean value. So the expression inside while statement must give you a Boolean value. If the expression evaluates to true, the while statement executes the statement in the while block. The while statement continues testing the expression and executing its block until expression evaluates to false. So the only condition that will stop it to execute is whenever the condition or the expression will return false. Otherwise, it will keep on executing. So the two part, that is initialization and increment, take place inside the while block. So initialization need to take place outside the while block. So just before writing the while, you can initialize your loop variable and then you write the expression. And inside the while loop, you can write a condition to terminate it. So either you can write a increment, like as we have done in for loop, we can write an increment, and the condition to terminate could be of some particular value of that increment, or it is not necessary to give you a variable. In case of initialization, there could be simply certain condition. If that's become true, your while loop can end. Okay, so this is a diagrammatical representation in which you can see we have a while loop and a condition, and then we have conditional code. So there's a condition. If that condition is true, there's a code block that is executed, and again a condition is checked. If a condition is false, then it goes outside the loop. So it's similar to the for loop. The diagram is similar to the for loop, but yeah, there is eventually a difference between the two in terms of syntax and where to use it. So this is a example of while loop. We have created a class while demo. Inside that class, we have created public static void main method. Inside that method, we are initializing a count variable to 1. And then we are going to print the count till 10. So you can see the work that we are doing is exactly the same what we have done in our for loop video. But this thing we are going to execute, we are going to implement it through a while loop. So after initializing the count variable to 1, we are writing the while loop where we are writing the condition when to stop it. So the condition is while it will keep on executing till count is less than 11. So till count is less than 11, that is till 10 it will keep on executing. And what are the statements that we are executing? It is we are printing the value of count. After printing the value of count, we are incrementing the count to 1. So you can see in this the 3 section of a loop, that is initialization happens over here, then the increment is happening over here, and this is the condition where we need to terminate our loop. So I hope it's clear like how it is done. So now let's try an example in our Eclipse IDE. Okay guys, so I'm creating a new class over here. I'm clicking on my package, go to new, click on the class. Over here you can give the name of your class. I'm giving while example. Fine. Now I'm going to create a main method inside it. Yeah, this is my main method. I'm sorry for incorrect spellings. Yeah, public static void main string args is a method I have created. Now I will be creating my while loop. So using this while loop, what I'm going to do is, um, let us try an example where we are going to calculate a factorial using a while loop. So I hope you all know the logic of factorial. So firstly, let me tell you what is a factorial. So in maths, you must have studied the factorial for 5. So I'm just writing a comment. The factorial of 5 is 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. Okay, similarly, the factorial for uh, 3 would be 3 into 2 into 1. So the value will come out to be 6, and in this case the value will come out to be 6 into 4, which is 24, and 24 into 5, which will be 120. Okay, so similarly we calculate the factorial. So it's like multiplying the number starting from 1 till that number will give you a factorial. So now we are going to see how we can do that using a while loop. Okay, so we have seen in our previous tutorial how we can take input from user. So let's take our input from user using a scanner object. So over here I have taken an input from user. I have created a scanner object and that I have passed system.in. So this is a syntax. Don't worry about the meaning and how we are doing it. As of now, just consider that scanner class is used to take input and it includes the input stream as a parameter. After creating a scanner object, we need to call the next int method to take a input as a integer, and I'm storing it in variable int number. Fine, so we'll get a user input using this. Now we are going to calculate the factorial of this number. So we are going to ask the user to tell us the number on which we want to calculate the factorial. Once we get that in this variable, we are going to calculate the factorial. Now let's do that. Now in order to calculate the factorial, the logic is multiply number by number minus 1, number minus 2 till we reaches 1. Okay, or we can do it vice versa. Multiply 1 by 1 plus 1, then that number again by plus 1 till we reaches number. Okay, okay, so let's do that. So I have initialized the variable int count equals to 1, and the condition I'm placing is while count is less than number. That is because I'm going to start with count, which is 1, then I'm going to increment the count to 2, and I'm going to multiply the count every time. Okay, so this would be, I have again taken a variable fact, which is to store the factorial. I'm initializing it to the value of count, which is initially 1. Inside this loop, I'm doing fact equals to fact into count. So every time my count will increment, let me also write the code to increment the count. So yeah, now every time my count will increment, it will multiply it with fact. So initially when fact is 1 and count is also 1, it will multiply 1 into 1 and the value of fact will become 1. Then it will increment the count to 2. then my count will become as 2 and it will check for the condition. Now the condition says that count need to be less than number. So if my number is 5, the count need to be less than 5. It will multiply 2 by 1, which will give it 2. So the fact will become 2, and then by incrementing a count, count will become 3. Now again it will check for the condition. Again the count is still less than number, that is 3 is still less than 5. It will multiply 3 by the fact which was previously 2. The fact will become as 6 and the count will also be incremented. Now still 4 is less than 5. Again this line will execute where the fact which was previously 6 will be multiplied by 4, which is give us 24. The count will become 5. Now it will check if the count is less than the number. No, the count is not less than the number. So in order to correct it, we need to put equals to. Okay, because we also want to multiply it by 5. So now it will become 5, and now we need to execute it by multiplying 24 into 5, which will give us 120 the factorial, and it will increment the count to 6. Now it will again check. Now the condition will become false when 6 is less than equal to 5 is false. Now this code won't be executed and we'll have our value in the fact variable. Now we can print the value of factorial over here. So I'm going to write factorial of number is fact. Fine, now let's try running our program. Firstly, I'm going to run this program for 5. See, it's giving me the factorial of 5 is 120. Now let's again run this program for, let's say, 3. It's giving me the correct output. We can try another run for a big number, let's say 12. So it's also giving me another number. Just make sure if you are, trying to run it for a big number instead of int, take your number as long, because the factorial quite become, outside the range of integer and could give you a wrong input. Sorry, I mean to say the wrong output. So I hope it's clear how we can use a while loop to, calculate the factorial. So thank you guys. This was for this tutorial. In next tutorial, we are going to learn do while loop. Thank you.